host, Rose of McDonald Bookkeeping Services and Shamara Walker of SWHR Consulting. We bring real issues and resources to business owners and entrepreneurs, local and celebrity guests sharing their journey into entrepreneurship. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey, happy Thursday, everybody. What's going on? And this is Rose. Welcome back to another day in the life of an entrepreneur. And as you can see, I'm by myself today. I'm waiting for my co-host to join the show. As you know, we are business owners, so we are always doing something. I want to welcome back and thank all of our dedicated listeners. Thank you so much for everybody who has been following us and subscribing to all of our podcasts. How we so appreciate you for your dedication, your following us, and even making comments on who you want us to have on the show. Normally we are here on Saturdays, but we have changed it to Thursday because we've had such a high demand on people saying, why are you guys not on the weekday? Because people have stuff to do on Saturday. So here we are, Thursdays, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So everybody who is watching live, make sure you subscribe and follow, and you will be able to get notifications on our calendar for upcoming guests and see a lot of our great past guests that have been on the show. So let me first say thank you to our sponsor, Marketing Out the Box. Yep, right there, Marketing Out the Box Media. So if you want to get your marketing right and get it down so that you can get a great following and expand your business or your social media, then check out Marketing Out the Box. And this is a reminder that November 14th to check out the Black Business Social Hour. We have some super guests, some keynote speakers. We have Stone Paxton, Teddy Riley. We have entertainment, Deshaun Marshall, a great comedian. I mean, just check out our website, entrepreneurlife.show, and you're going to see all the great guests that will be on the show, entertainment, our great speakers. It is going to be the bomb. Don't miss it. So let's get the show started with our guest today. We are so overly excited that he accepted our invitation to be on this show. And many of you, like I am, a major fan. So anybody that we have on our show is because we actually want them on the show. We asked them on the show. It's people that we have followed, that we're either inspired by, that can educate our listeners, that, you know, it's really tangible guests. So as you know, if you've been following us, the people we have on our show always have something great and wonderful to offer. And that is something important to us that we believe in. So before, you know, I just keep on rambling. Of course, I mean, I don't even really have to give an introduction. Who doesn't know speech or Arrested Development? I mean, who doesn't even know Arrested Development? You can't be on this planet if you don't know who they are or who he is, like seriously. So let's get him on the platform and get started and welcome him on. And if you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to put them in the comment box and I will put them on the screen. So here we go. Hi, thanks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here with you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I'm very excited, not just because you're on the show, that's part of it, but just to meet you virtually, because I am obviously a fan, but not just a fan because of who you are, the music that you're a part of, and the generational music, the music that talks to us. But because, of course, I think that music today has changed. And I think that you are one of the most valuable people in the music industry and your group that really brings quality to music.
Thank you. And all of that means a lot to me. It really does. And it's really a pleasure to be on the show.
So, you know, if you can kind of give our viewers, I know I follow you. You know, how did actually you get started in the industry of music, and how did you connect with the growth of Arrested Development? I mean, was that what your goal was, to be a musician? Is that where you started?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started like professionally when I was about 13, 14. I was a freshman in high school, and I was inspired by Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5. They used to have a TV show on every Saturday. It was a cartoon. And
Yeah.
I was inspired by that and always wanted to be in the music world from that. But then my dad owned a nightclub called the Fox Trap that I used to go to every day after school and really hang out there all night. And I just saw the power of music. And I knew that it was something that moved people in a deep way. It totally changed people's mood. And I wanted to be able to wield that kind of magic, that kind of power. And so I became a DJ and started getting paid. And that was sort of my first introduction to being a professional. And then that was at 13. Then I started a rap group in Milwaukee called Attack. And that we released records, the first rap group to release these records in the Milwaukee area, Wisconsin state. And then, of course, I moved to Atlanta in '87 and started Arrested Development. And that was one of the best things and most powerful things I could have ever done. And I'm so grateful. The group has since then won 2 Grammys. We've won MTV Awards, Soul Train Awards, NAACP Award. We've sold over 4 or 5 million records. We've toured the entire planet numerous times over and have a lot of great and dedicated, wonderful fans and been able to do a lot of great things. So I'm really grateful for all of that. And we started Arrested Development. I put up a flyer at the school I was going to in Atlanta called the Art Institute of Atlanta. And I wanted a DJ because I used to be a DJ, but I started rhyming. And so I was looking for a DJ, and a guy named Tim, which I would later name him Headliner, became my DJ. And we started from there, and it just grew and grew and grew.
Where did you come up with the name, though, Arrested Development? Well,
really, the first time I came up with it was a friend of mine who had a punk rock group called Arrested Development. And I love the name. And back in these days, names of groups were more conceptual. So there was a group called Fishbone that was really great. There was Public Enemy. So names had more meaning and had more depth to it in general back then. And so the name Arrested Development just felt rebellious to me. It felt really cool, and I loved the name. And then I later sort of came up with the reason we should have that name, because my friend, his punk rock group disbanded, and so he let me have the name. And I look at us as a people and see us in general in a state of arrested development.
Hi, sorry about that. I was having some technical difficulties, but
okay. So now we're in the show. So of course, your music is so, I think it's storytelling music.
Right.
And it's really, I think your specific artists, their art never goes away if the music is embedded in something that you can relate to, kind of like the Temptations. So where do you actually get your, how do you get inspired?
Well, for me, real life is better than fiction most of the time. And my real life and the things that I've been through is most of the time the feeding ground for songs and ideas, because, I'm 52 years old. Well, I'll be 52 this Sunday. So, whoop, whoop. And I've been through a lot of things. A lot of things have been going on, and I've met a ton of people. And so at the end of the day, there's inspiration just from life. And I find my best stuff comes from just being honest about my true feelings and, what I'm going through. And I've learned that most of us go through similar things. And so if you can tap into that authenticity of what you're really actually feeling and going through, it's probably going to resonate with a good number of people around the world if they hear it.
So before, there was a comment made on the screen from Chris. So he's just wanted to make sure, I wanted to make sure you saw that, from Chris Braun. Do you find yourself a political person? I asked that because, I've read quite a bit, and I know you did some touring. So, and you with, I think it was Gore.
Hillary Clinton and Al Gore.
Yes. What was that like?
Well, I toured with Hillary Clinton, Al Gore for her book. She had a book that she released called It Takes a Village. And I had a song called It Takes a Village to Raise a Child, which is an African proverb.
Yes.
And she called my office to see if I would be willing to go out on tour with her and Al Gore. And I said yes. And we became cool during that tour. I really had a good time with her, Chelsea, Al Gore. All of them were stand-up folks. And then I later would go on tour with Senator Barack Obama when he was running for his first term as our president. So all of those experiences are crazy because you're performing in front of like regular America. As a hip hop artist, you're usually performing in front of hip hop fans. But when you're on that kind of tour, it's all types of Americans. Some of them have never listened to hip hop in their life. And then others, you know, they like what they like. It might be classical or country or whatever they like. And so it's a different type of tour. And it's revealing what this country is made out of. Like how many like there's a phrase that I love. It says, it takes all types to make this world go round. And that's so true. When you go on these types of tours, you're really seeing all of America, not just the particular community you're from or the type of style of music or fashion that you tend to like. And you hang around these types of people, you see everybody. And it's a different experience to be on a political tour.
So what was it like, you know, being around, you know, Barack Obama? I have to ask the question. Who is he as a person?
Did you hear that question?
I think he froze. I think we might have lost him.
Okay, hold on, guys. We might be frozen a little bit. So just give us a second. We are on with.
I see myself again. Okay, I see you.
Okay, you have a question. There you go. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was asking, you know, with your experience of just everything that you mentioned, what was Barack Obama like? I just have to ask the question in that moment.
He was amazing. And what I mean by that is he's, you know, being a politician, a lot of people don't give credit to politicians. And I'm not saying that they don't deserve our critiques and our, you know, people going in on them when they're corrupt or doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that. I think that that's fair and right. But one other thing that we don't really realize about politicians is that they're servants at the end of the day. And they have to be on. So like, you know how in our lives you have an on and off switch as far as being really giving and, you know, really directing your energy towards the people around you. Politicians have to do that a lot. And so being around Barack, the first time I met him, he just did a incredible speech. He was with Oprah, Gayle King, this same day. And then he would shake hands with everybody, kiss a ton of babies, talk about a ton of issues. And then he'd get backstage to us, who we had just performed for his crowd, about 20,000 people. This was North Carolina the first time that we performed with him. And him and Michelle came backstage. And again, they were on, like just their ability to do all of that serving and then still come backstage, not in front of the cameras, and be so giving to us. And he came in like, I am everyday people. And he was singing and, you know, he was just like a very down-to-earth person and a person that really strived to make sure we all felt comfortable and not intimidated by the position that he was in as the first, you know, Black president, or possibly the first Black president at that point. He was very cool. And Michelle, same difference. And we all know that now, like having seen him be in office for 8 years. But at that time, it was really impressive just to see how on he was.
What do you think about?
I wasn't sure if I asked the question already in regards to everyday people because I love that song. So I just wanted to get some insight on like what inspired you to, you know, create that song. And it's touched so many people, you know, so I just kind of want to get, you know, what was the inspiration behind it?
Well, it was from real life. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And at the time I wrote that song, consciousness was not in style. So it wasn't a thing. Like you didn't wear dashikis. Nobody had dreads in America. I mean, very few people had dreads in America. It wasn't a fashion statement. And this was in the late 80s, early 90s. And so basically a lot of people in our own community would come at me and just start talking mess about the way I'm dressed, and basically what I talk about in the song, I had to try to prove my manhood to people. And at the end of the day, at the core of that song is really a clash between two ideologies: the consciousness, which is we're Black people that's oppressed, but we need to rise up, and then the unconscious, which is people that's still on the journey of not understanding our full potential as a people, and sort of wallowing in this oppressive behavior, this ignorant behavior, and thinking that that's cool. So like, it's that clash of those two ideologies. And I use the term nigga in the song, and I'm not talking about just Black people. I'm talking about an ignorance. Right. And in the song, I talk about African, and I never use them interchangeably. They're always one or the other. And the point I'm trying to make in the song is all of us should, and Ishi says it at the end, that we need to be loving one another and evolve and unite, because a lot of this violence that we perpetrate on one another, a lot of the ignorance that we perpetrate against one another is counterproductive to our freedom that our ancestors before us have been fighting so hard for. So that's basically the whole point. And yeah. And
I'm glad you mentioned the whole nigger thing. I kind of wanted to just get your thoughts about that. I mean, again, it's now a fashion trend that everyone says it, no matter what race you are. And so I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts behind that, because it's really controversial. And I think that a lot of people still don't really understand the wrongness behind using the word. And so I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, to me, I've never, there's a few things. I feel like the word is rooted in so much hatred and in so much terrorism towards us as a people, meaning literally burning at the stakes, hanging, mutilation. I mean, anything you can mention, it has been done under the guise of that term. And so I personally believe that we have to always acknowledge the feelings and the just have compassion for those that have gone on before us and whose shoulders we stand on. So we can't change the definition of the word in mid-usage. The word has had a definition already, and it still has that definition to this day. And we can't change it in mid-usage and expect that to be somehow empowering if it's only empowering to the young generation and not to the generation that had to use it or had to be victim to it the most. We need to unite all of our generations and be one and denounce the word in its use in that sense. And I feel also that the term nigga, to me, is not really, it does not define who we are. It defines, to me, a constructed and a purposely conditioned perception of Black people: lazy, violent, untrustworthy, hypersexualized. These types of things, to me, is a view of what a nigga is to most people around the planet. And I did a documentary called The Nigga Factory. And I really want y'all to check it out. It's on YouTube. It's a mini documentary. It's 3 parts. And it's gotten well over 1 million views on different platforms. And it's basically it uncovers this 400-year marketing campaign to portray us as Black people as niggas. And I love for people and your viewers and listeners to check it out too. It's called The Nigga Factory by Speech. And you could go to my website, brotherspeech.com, and get the link from there. It's really powerful. And I think it would help explain what I feel about the term even more than I just did. So
thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What do you think about today's artists and today's music?
I mean, I'm a fan of music and I love hip hop in particular. Hip hop has changed my life. So I listen to it. And I wanted to say that as a prelude so that people don't think I'm just hating on what I'm about to say. I feel like the balance is not where it needs to be. Yeah. And so one thing about the Black community is we are not one-dimensional. We have a lot of different views, a lot of different viewpoints. And so our music needs to reflect that. Right. And whenever our music gets sort of pigeonholed into strip clubs, selling drugs, taking drugs,
throwing money,
fighting and materialism,
Right.
When you're lowering us to just that, you're doing not just a small but a huge disservice to an entire group of people.
Yeah.
And not only just a group of people, but a group of people who also happened to be victims of campaigns for 400 years already to demean us and to take away our full humanity. So I have a very strong belief that we need desperately to change the narrative of what we are allowing to put out that describe who we are as a people. So that's what I feel about the new artists. I would challenge all of them to become more true to who they really are and not just what the industry image of us is, basically depicted as a lot.
So do you think that they go that direction just because they want to get to a place that they do have a voice, and once they get to that place, it should be now a transition to who they truly are? Or you just kind of still think that they just stay stuck because of the money and the fame, and that's more what they're focused on?
I think both. I think some artists have a plan of, I'm going to start here and then I'm going to get there and I'm going to become more mature later. And then others, unfortunately, never had that plan and they just wanted money. And the mere fact that there is money in our ignorance should wake people up. Right. The mere fact that that's where the money is, that's where the bag is. The bag is when we act as ignorant as possible, as degrading as possible to you all as Black women, as dangerous as possible to Black men against each other, and as materialistic as possible to the world. That's where the money bag is. And we should always question that because that's intentional. And then the second thing, the whole evolve plan that a lot of hip hop artists in particular use, like I'm gonna start off with this gangster stuff and then I'm gonna evolve later, is that's a 2 steps forward and 4 steps backwards approach. Meaning the whole time that you've been doing this degrading music is usually going to be the peak of your career. And then whenever you start changing into a different mindset, you're probably in your 40s or 50s and you're not even at the peak of your career anymore. Now there's new artists that are taking your same approach and they're going to keep on spewing the same toxic information to their audience. And the cycle just continues. And so it's not enough that evolved artists start giving millions of dollars to this Black organization or that Black organization. That's beautiful, but we've got to learn to do that thing without all the destruction that was the precursor to that. We've got to stop doing the destruction part because we're already behind in a sense as a people now. So we've got to be able to move forward with true authentic movement as opposed to this whole 2 steps, backwards, 1 step forward type of thing.
Are there any artists that you would work with today?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, even some of the artists that, the term gangster rap is not really a thing now, but I'll use it because it's just sort of a term that gets used pretty loosely. But I would work with certain gangster artists. One of the things that I do is I always say for my music that there's no cussing. So no matter who they are, if they want to work with me, we won't be doing the cussing thing. But I like to work with artists that are good at their craft, no matter what their particular story is. And I think that a lot of times it's really powerful when an artist that is known for gangster rap, I say that in quotes, can collaborate with me because it brings different audiences to the table and allows them to sort of hear different viewpoints and stuff. So I think it's healthy to do that. So I would work with a lot of different artists, to be honest.
So I know you guys have a lot coming out right now, which I'm happy and excited to hear. But I guess we don't get a sneak peek listen yet, right?
I love how you hated that, Rose.
Yeah, definitely. Like right now, I'm the most proud as I've been in about 28 years because we just released, it's out now. It's called Don't Fight Your Demons, a brand new Arrested Development record. And it's getting a lot of love. And many people are saying it's album of the year. Others are saying it's their best, our best Arrested Development record since our debut album. And so I'm really excited because I feel like I'm at the precipice, if that's a word, but like I'm at a place where we have a chance to really reach a large swath of the population again.
Mhm.
And this is that record that I feel like can do that. So one of the things I do every day is pray about that. God, please, allow this record to hit this, mainstream audience in a real way. And, and I've obviously started doing interviews again, because for a while I wasn't doing interviews, but I decided to because of that reason. And I didn't want to be like asking God something and not be willing to, put deeds behind it. So I wanted to make sure I tried to help God accomplish that goal by doing interviews and stuff. So yeah, I'm really proud of this new record. Don't fight your demons.
So what would you say the inspiration came from that? I mean, do you use a lot in today's what's happening, like currently, that gives you inspiration? I'm assuming because even with the music you guys have done in the past, you take what we see and the negativity and what's in media and kind of share that and express it in music. Like, is it the same thing you're doing today?
Definitely. It's been my go-to way of writing music. And, everything from the George Floyd protests, and which really was a worldwide protest. I mean, people don't realize that was one of the biggest, if not the biggest.
Hold on, guys. He froze it.
Might have lost.
We're all going to freeze with him.
You see, cold tease. Everyone's on the internet.
Yeah. Oh, this is. I hope you guys are.
There he is.
We all froze with you, so we were like this. Okay. So
I continue.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, no. So basically, this album is very contemporary, and the subject matter is very real. And I think people will be surprised, because most people have a perception of what an Arrested Development record's going to sound like before they put it on. And I think when people put it on, they're like, oh, it's like that. It's like a head tilt type of thing. Like,
okay.
So it's like that, what I'm saying? And I like that. I like the surprise factor. And I like the fact that at age 52 or almost 52,
almost,
there's people saying that it's extremely current and it feels very fresh and authentic. So I love that.
I noticed, and I don't know a lot about music just because I don't really listen to a lot of today's music, but because there's nothing I can grasp on. But nowadays it seems like everybody's just putting out anything to have anything out there versus, even if I can't put out anything right now because I want to just make sure I put out something quality. You're getting what I'm saying?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So do you feel like that is why some of the most influential, I think, artists, including Arrested Development, like KRS-One, you don't see stuff coming out every day, but when they come out just hard and fresh with something that's just so different.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we all have to become weary of and fight against is the gatekeepers of music. There is a concerted effort to keep conscious music from reaching the mainstream. Right. And the corporations have, this being an entrepreneurial show, you guys know about this even more than most, but the corporations have become huge conglomerates. And because of the 1996 Telecommunications Act, there has been the ability to basically monopolize each marketplace with one company owning the newspaper, the video channel, the radio stations, even concert venues. And so when you do that, you have a smaller and smaller amount of people making decisions for a huge amount of listeners and viewers out there. And that therefore keeps the gatekeeping easier for people that want to keep this music dumbed down and keep artists like a KRS-One or a Public Enemy, who just released on September 25th, same day that we did. Paris, who's an artist from the 80s and 90s, released on the same day. Nappy Roots released. But you won't hear about that as much as you'll hear about WAP or, Savage or what have you. So,
Right.
Those are some things that we've got to fight against as a people and make sure that we have the outlets to get this music out to the masses.
I mean exactly what you said. I think it's a way to keep us ignorant, right? It's a way to
Correct.
keep us in this same mentality of thinking that these are the things that we should be chasing, like, you know, and so this leads me to my next question. Like, how do you feel about in regards to, you know, us as a people, a Black race? I think that, you know, ultimately everyone wants to be like us, but at the same time hate on us. So I just want to, you know, get your thoughts around that, and like, why is it that us as a Black people is like a fashion trend, you know, and versus, you know, us being respected for who we are, and of course, you know, we're getting to that place, but it's a long, you know, it's a long journey.
We're our worst enemy. It really seems like we're our worst enemy ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the truth of the matter is we're the original people on the planet Earth. And so much of the inspiration, much of the medicinal, academic, astrological, biological realities and findings and brilliance came from us.
Right.
And I think other races understand that. And even from a genetic standpoint, I think they understand our dominance from a genetic standpoint. So I think there is multiple reasons why other races want to keep us back, because they understand our brilliance. They understand our extreme power as a people.
Right.
And historically, before America and before slavery, it was evident. And even that has been so strategically wiped out that it's obvious that there is a reason they don't want these things to become common knowledge. And I think what it does is it takes away a lot of the validity of many of the things that our present Western cultures are based upon. And so, yeah, I think that's the danger. And so, yes, I think they see the brilliance in us, so they want to imitate it as long as they can control it. As long as it's either on them, if it's, you know, certain skin tone or a darker skin tone, if it's on them, they can control it. But if it's in our hands and we literally have the controls of these things, it becomes dangerous to them. And so I think that's one of the reasons they keep it from us.
And just in terms of like creating that fear behind us as a people, you know, and for me, I think that that's like so weird, because when you go to places, you know, people are clenching their purses or holding their kids when you walk into a room or things, and it's like, why do you look at us as this fear factor? We're more afraid of you than you're afraid of us in terms of our history and what has happened to our people. And it's just, I just don't understand it. You know,
I definitely explain a lot of it in what I guess is maybe on the screen, at least it's on my screen, the Nigga Factory in episode 1 and 2. I explain a lot of that. And, you know, really with the Declaration of Independence, when it talked about all men are created equal, and yet at that very time period, the writers of that were owning slaves, and that hypocrisy, I think, put into action a need to try to justify us being less than human and not deserving of that equal status. And so from that point on, I think they really took it upon themselves to make sure that people would fear us, that they would despise us. And they went to huge lengths to do that. And, like, you know, in every area you could think of, they went to huge lengths, whether it be scientific, you know, false studies that they created, if it be biological false findings that they created. I mean, all of these things that they went through in order to make people fear and hate us, and including us fearing and hating us, which is what you were alluding to about sometimes we're our worst enemy. And that can be true. And that's because of the conditioning that we've all been put under, you know, and I find it hard, even myself sometimes, to overcome that conditioning, because all of us have been conditioned by it, whether it's through TV or education system in schools and so on and so forth. Just everything is skewed towards a white perspective and a Black demeaning, you know, like demeaning our Blackness.
You know, I want to kind of trail back a little bit when we kind of talked about, you know, some artists today. So they'll put out anything, and a lot are going for the money, going for the notoriety. going for the followers, whatever you want to call it, but not really, I don't think it's an art form anymore. But I think it's a contradiction when you come out and you're doing, like, you know, and nothing against the artists, but like, you know, this like WAP today and some of this hardcore rap and cussing and nowadays music is just, I find a lot of it is just, they just have that line, what do you call it? As long as you have that one hook, and that's all they say the entire time of the song, pretty much, is the one hook. But but you get to where you want to be, and then all of a sudden now you want to say, listen to me and let's support our culture. It's almost like a contradiction. It's like, but you did all of this, you came out there with, you know, your video with the guns or whatever, or the booty shaking, and then now you're saying, okay, now let's support our industry. I don't, how do you perceive that? Because I don't. I think it's a joke myself.
I think it is a joke, and that's why you think it is, and that's why it just matter of factly is a joke. And I say that to say, what other culture, what other race of people use their entertainers as the spokesperson for serious issues within their community? Now, the entertainers may be a spokesperson to help you vote or to tell you to, you know, hey, make sure to go out and do this, but they're not the ones that's going to the president, for instance, supposedly, and making plans for the entire race of people. I don't see that in any other people. So I think the truth of the matter is that it reminds me of the movie New Jack City, where Wesley Snipes' character was a drug dealer. He's dealing drugs throughout the community. He's beating up people, killing people. And then on every Thanksgiving, however, or Christmas, I forget what it was in the movie, he would give out tons of turkeys, and he would, you know, pass out food to the community. But it's the same community that he was a parasite in.
Right.
And yet he was passing out turkeys at the same time. That's what I feel on most of these artists that are doing these types of things. It's too little too late, and you have played too huge of a role in the demise of further generations and further, you know, dysfunction in our community to now be also the spokesperson. And so it's not fair, it's not right, and it's just as wrong as the day is long. It's just not cool. And I talk about that in the first song on our new album. It's called Back Down. So I totally agree with you.
So then my next question would be, being on that with artists, is because some of them have their own record, many, because they want to put out their own music, you get your own record label, you know, you produce it and all that yourself. Do you think then there is some kind of obligation that, okay, if we don't have to go through, I don't know if everybody has to go through someone in the industry to put something out. If you have your own label, now you can actually put out the music that benefits us in our community. Still keep your art form, but benefit us for the community, engage, empowering our youth, our young people. Do you think they not do enough? Because I don't know a lot about the industry, but I sure think, well, gosh, you have your own label. So I'm not sure what you're doing with that label. And so I don't buy any music because it's not supporting anything but your pocketbook to get a really nice car, I guess.
Yeah. I do think that having your own label is great. And now we have to have our own backbone and our own integrity, right, and self-accountability within our own communities, because we can change the narrative of our music and we can make it about, and look, everyone doesn't have to be conscious. I'm not saying that. I'm saying people can be authentic, because all of us, whether we're from the hood or whether we're from some middle class or upper class or wherever we're from, we are all concerned about various issues in our community. And so when we get authentic and honest, then that's when our true humanity can start to shine. And that's what I try to encourage artists to be. I'm not encouraging them to be me or to be Public Enemy or whoever they like in the conscious world. It's like, be you. But I know you, sir or ma'am, have a certain amount of awareness of what's going on in our communities, and you do care to some extent or another. I mean, most of them do. And you find that out in a lot of their interviews. And so now you have to be authentic enough to put that on your recording projects and still put it out there. Now, I will say that there has been some backwards movement that we have to correct. And what I mean by that is, unfortunately, even if you have your own record label, where you're going to get a lot of your music promoted today, unfortunately, is the strip clubs, because most of the trap music that comes out is fostered or promoted initially through strip clubs. And so strip clubs by nature aren't conducive for super conscious music, because it sort of defeats the purpose of why you're at the strip club. So it's just sort of like there's these clashing concepts that are happening that we've got to try to initiate other places and other ways that people can get new music. And so I always encourage shows like this. I was on a show called Rock the Bells that LL Cool J started on Sirius XM. And that show is a good show because it gives artists opportunities to showcase their music. I was just talking with DJ Vlad a couple days ago, and I use his platform solely to try to reach more people. And it's like, that's been the goal now. It's like, okay, have your own label, talk about your own authentic journey, and then find platforms that are willing to help promote this music, because that's what we're going to need.
Do you think now that we have, because there's a whole thing now with the copywriting. So it used to be you can download music for free. You can't do that anymore. Now, if you play anything, you have to use that whole phrase, what this is, I'm not the owner of this right to this music. And then there is, now everybody is on YouTube, and now you can put music out, not necessarily with having to go through anybody and sell it. What do you think about that new change? I mean, does it give you more freedom that you can do that?
Yes, it does. But I tell you what's really, to me, the big business move for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, the mere fact that record labels have found a way to, if you're just some girl that's twerking on YouTube and you want to use a Chris Brown song to twerk off of, they have developed and created the software to notice that you're using a Chris Brown record that's owned by whatever record label he's on. And they will either mute that song from your YouTube video, or they will tell you that you can't, give you a strike in a sense and tell you can't use this or whatever. And yet, every day, these huge platforms like TikTok, YouTube, Snapchat, or whatever, will use Black talent and make it, like, for instance, our new dances, we can't copyright that yet. And we should do that. Like, these are the types of things that I wish us as entrepreneurial Blacks are finding out a way to do. Why is it that girl who created, I forget the dance lately, but some Black girl created an incredible dance that went absolute viral.
I know you're talking about. Right.
All the white girls was doing it on Ellen, and everybody was doing it. And the Black girl, in my opinion, is probably still just like whatever amount of money she was making then, she's probably making now. Like, she never got rich off of that. And
she didn't trademark it or anything.
Exactly. So I feel like we've got to become more savvy to own all of these trends that we always create, so that our people are starting, or at least the people that created it within our community, are making money from these huge, 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 huge trends, and basically owning the content. Because as they say probably in a lot of industries, but in the music industry, content is king. And YouTube and others have found a way to make sure that if anybody's going to use their content, we're going to pay for it, or we can't use it. And I hope we can get to that same amount of savviness or shrewdness to do the same with our trends that we create throughout the world.
Do you think the artists should be paid for that?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you think the artist should be paid for that? Then, people are going to use their music. Like, if we were going to use something in the background and say, okay, yeah, I'm going to pay for this, and that should go to the artist.
I do. And sometimes that can happen now, but things like dances or phrases that we tend to come up with, slang, things like this are not copyrighted. And so we don't get that. We don't tend to benefit from that. And yet the entire world will be using our slang. The entire world will be using phrases that we came up with, and we don't tend to benefit from it financially.
So what do you think exactly like you said, in terms of being able to capitalize off of something that you create. I mean, there isn't anything out there to educate them on how to go about doing that. You know, it's just, okay, I became popular. I get this many likes, so I guess I'm doing something great, you know,
Right.
but they're
Yeah.
not capitalizing on it and making it an actual business strategic move. So how can they get that information? Like, what is the steps to kind of get them thinking about those types of things when they create things like this?
I think it's going to be up to us as a people, or the richest, the people that have the most resources among us, to create those platforms that give us that power. So
Right.
we've got to start building that highway in a sense now, so that when that young kid comes out with that new craze that's bound to happen in the next 5 years or whatever, that he or she is going to be able to capitalize on it because of the highways that we've laid down in this day and age right now. So I think that our people like a Jay-Z or a Beyonce or Cube or whoever's in that billionaire status, because we have a number of us that are now at that type of level, we need to be creating those types of highways, in my opinion, to create real wealth within the community from the things that are bound to happen from our community, the trends that are bound to happen from our community, and set up the
We're so funny. Sorry, guys. He froze up a little bit. So we're just going to freeze down. For those who are listening, you may as well not notice that we're freezing when our guests kind of the internet freezes on us a bit. So we're just playing along with the game. We're playing along with the game.
There you go. He's back.
Just to let you know, whenever you freeze, we freeze with you. So we just like.
okay.
So some people may not like what I'm about to say, but this is my personal opinion, and is that I'm finding that a lot of us in our Black culture, whether you call it Black or African American, are losing their identity. So people don't want to say that they are Black. It's oh, I'm mixed. I'm just because you're from somewhere else, but your color is still Black, but I'm from Colombia, and it's kind of as if what is the purpose of you're not wanting to say that you're Black or African American, because a place that you were brought up isn't your nationality. It's a place that you were brought up or you learned the language. Does that make sense?
I have a comment on that before he dive into that question, and I think in regards to how we're classified, right? When you fill out an application, for example, there's Black, there's African American, and for me, my personal experience, I just want to understand what Black means, like on your documentation that you want me to check box Black, what is that definition of Black on that? And so before, I just wanted to kind of get your opinion on that before you dive into that question, because what does it mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And there's a lot of us, there's been a lot of people. Well, I'll say this. I have a website that I power on Instagram called Black Existence. And on that website, and I definitely encourage people to go to that. It's on Instagram, just type in Black Existence. And on that website, a lot of people comment, well, we're not Black. And, they talk about the negative connotations of Black from history, Black magic, Black this, Black that. And they say we're not Black. And then they talk about various theories about what we should be calling ourselves. And I'm not going to demean what they feel about that, but I will say this. I feel like one commonality is that no matter if we're from Colombia or from Africa or from Brazil or from here, we can still say we're Black. If we start going back to, well, I'm Colombian, or I'm Jamaican, and to me, that is splitting up our power to be able to change things as a general collective. Whereas for me personally, at least, when I use the term Black, I'm not talking about any negative connotations, but I'm talking about a commonality between all of us as a people. And it connects us not only to those that are in Nigeria, for instance, who's got the movement of NSARS, not only in Brazil or the Congo or here in America or in Australia. It connects us together and therefore gives us more power. And it also connects us to movements that have existed in the past that we still can build upon and learn from, like the Black Power movement. So I think things like this are so important as well as we move forward. So that's why I continue to use the term Black, but I'm not mad at anybody if they don't want to no longer use it. But that's what I do. And as far as mixed people, my personal opinion is that if you're mixed, you're still Black. I personally, from what I've studied, at least most of us in America in particular are mixed anyway. Even if we don't think we are, if we don't look it, even those of us that are dark skinned, we still are actually mixed from a biological standpoint to some extent or another. And so for me, I just look at it all as Blackness. To me, it unifies us in a way that I think is important for some of the goals that we need to accomplish.
Well, I know that I have, because I am biracial, and some people don't sometimes understand the how it can be very uncomfortable or negative when someone will ask, you know, like, where are you from or whatever. Go, oh, I'm Black. Or I say we're Washington, D.C., because, you know, it's right, Washington, D.C. Oh, no, but like you're something else. And sometimes they don't understand. It can be a bit offensive.
Yeah.
So it's almost like saying, okay, so I can't say that I'm Black, even though, yes, I'm biracial, but I'm predominantly Black. So sometimes people have to, I guess, be cautious with how they ask people questions. And then some people, if you'll just say, everybody's Indian. So nowadays,
Yeah.
Or you have good hair, so you must not be Black. Like,
yeah.
That's horrible. That's literally horrible when people say that.
That is the truth. I get that a lot.
So let me tell you, you are one of my favorite, because I love Arrested Development. There are just so many certain groups that I just still stick to today because it just sticks to your bones. The music, the culture. You know, we are just so happy to have you on our show. I'm sure our listeners, you guys have to be loving this conversation. If you are just listening on one of your favorite podcasts, you know, tune into our subscribe to our YouTube. You can check out, you know, where you can find our guests. We are happy about the new music. You can watch the live, of course, the live show. I'm definitely ready to get it. I hope there's more coming, you know. It would be great. I guess I'm asking.
Yeah, there's a whole lot more.
Add Rose. Let him focus on promoting this.
Okay.
Yeah, like this new album is Don't Fight Your Demons. It's out now. It's fire. And then everyone can go to my website. It's brotherspeech.com and everything.
You guys, like, this is hilarious. Okay, so yes, so until he comes back, we have his website on the screen, but make sure you will be able to go to our show page, the website, so you can make sure you can get the new music, as well as make sure you check out his website, because there's so much great stuff on here. I'm telling you right now, there is. I'm sorry, we just kept going on because we just love what you have. Sorry.
Thank you.
But anyway, but yes, where they can check you out. And of course, we have the website on the screen, and then we will actually have it on our show page also. It would be great to see you guys like live though, playing music. Are you guys going to be doing anything virtually that like we could like jump in on? Maybe?
Actually, this weekend, Pepsi and Essence Magazine are doing a HBCU homecoming event, a virtual event. And Arrested Development is going to rock on that. So be looking out for that. You can go to essence.com and check it out. It's this Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Are you going to be playing more of your newer music or a mixture?
I'm not going to say. I'm going to hope y'all are just check it out
Okay, we're
It'll be a surprise.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much again for being on our show. You're like the best ever. I'm going to watch it all the time. I'm trying to get my dreads like those. I just started getting my locks, so
They look beautiful.
The beginning stage. So, yes, they look pretty amazing with them. I just got them.
Come on.
So hopefully back on our show as you guys do more, it would be so fabulous. And even for fun on our show. Okay, I know we're asking for too much, but you know, we have our hopes and dreams.
Well, I appreciate y'all's love and I appreciate this interview. It was great talking with y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Okay, y'all. Stay strong.
Bye.
And we want to thank, of course, our guest. Was that not a great show? What?
Woohoo!
Oh my gosh. She is like the best. So of course, you guys make sure you subscribe wherever the subscribe button is. Thanks to our sponsor, Marketing Out the Box Media, who's just been doing so much for our show with our intro. Did you see our new intro? Was the bomb.
I know.
Loved it. Thank you, Sean Maddox. Yes.
Thank you.
And don't forget to get your tickets to
our event.
Yeah, our event show, which is the Black Business Social Hour. But you know, you don't have to be Black to show up.
Right. Just come all.
Yes.
Enjoy a good time.
We have, let me tell you, some really, really great people. So I wanted to make sure that everybody is going to be hopefully attending to get your ticket. So who do we have? Who's everybody that we have coming that's going to be part of the social hour?
Bring the flyer up. I want them to see the flyer.
Okay. I'm going to bring the flyer up. Here we go. So let me tell you. So the tickets are a really, really great price. We have, of course, Kittrick Taylor, former NFL wide receiver, one of our keynote speakers. Yes, and he just came out with his book. Actually, he will be releasing it in, I believe, November. I think it's November 7th. I could be wrong, but November, he is releasing his book, his biography. And let me tell you, he's got some good stuff in there. So if you attend, you will see him. You'll be able to also get his new book released that before anybody else is going to be able to get it. And then we have Stone Paxton. Let me tell you, he just came out with some. Have you guys not been following Stone? Because not only is he fine like wine,
right?
But, you know, his music and everybody he works with, I should have became a singer. And then maybe I could be on his like following with all these famous people that he works with and he writes for. Like, can I sing?
No, Rose, keep going.
But no, Stone Paxton, the original from the Stone City Band, musician, composer. He works with everybody. You know, I mean, he is just, he's an amazing guy. He's one of our keynote speakers going to be there. And then, of course, Teddy Riley.
Teddy Riley.
Yes. The new Jack Swanger. Yeah. All I want to do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. Yeah. Okay. So, Teddy Riley, of course. And he's going to be another keynote speaker there. And our entertainment day, Sean Marshall. He is really wanted. You know, that's a really great picture of him right there. I love that picture. He's a handsome guy. You know, maybe if I were still into guys and younger, I'd probably date him. But you know, I changed teams and all that, so you know.
I can't with you, Rose.
And then of course there is our wonderful Seville Williams. And let me tell you, has anybody seen his? You know, he's #1 on the music charts. Okay. If you guys want to hear his stuff, you know what I'm saying. Check out Seville Williams. He's easy to look up. He's going to be singing at the show and performing with his band. Look at this. Look at the lineup.
Yeah, we have some great guests. Y'all got to come out. We're going to have some good guys. Entertainment.
Yeah.
We're going to give out swag bags. Come on.
Yeah.
Look at the lineup. Come on.
The tickets are only $25.
$25.
You can pawn that necklace for $25. Okay? You can get a payday advance for a week and only have to pay like $3 to return. Come on. You know what I'm saying? 25. And we are practicing social distancing, so you don't have to worry. Everyone's going to be at a distance. It's going to be great food and everything, you know. So I mean, $25 isn't a whole lot of money. Don't buy the pack of cigarettes. Don't buy the Cavassier. Just the one time, and you can get the ticket to the show.
You got to come out. You have to come out. Don't you see how entertaining we are? Just imagine the show. Just imagine what you're going to expect when you come out to our event.
You don't need the Crown Royal just for, you know, I think Crown Royal, I don't know how much it costs. I don't drink. It's more than $25. So, I mean, just don't get the Crown Royal for one day. Don't send your kid to the babysitter. Just keep them for the day. You know what I'm saying? And get the ticket. All right?
And we also have sponsorship. So if anyone is interested in sponsoring their business, we're going to shout you out there. You're going to, you know, be able to get that visible appearances, all of that type of stuff. If you're interested in the sponsorship, go ahead and reach out to us.
Yeah, on our email, entrepreneurlife.show@gmail.com. As you see, we've got our sponsor, Marketing Out the Box, who's been sponsoring our show for some time. Thank you, Sean Maddox. And you know what? If you see how well we're doing, you better call this dude and get your business together, like for real, for real. Our video introductions and stuff. He manages your social media content manager, all, you know, all that stuff that people do. Let me tell you. So look at how fabulous we are. Don't you want to be that fabulous? Okay, so you need to connect with Marketing Out the Box if you want to be as amazing as we are. I mean, and then Squad Beauty Professionals. Okay, so look at the skin. You need a close-up?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, because she's got some product and she knows what she's doing. So do you see look at how great our show is. Look at our platform. Look at our guests. And then how amazingly beautiful we are and we skin. So of course, we're going to use Marketing Out the Box and Squad Beauty Professionals. Okay. So you don't have to be in Vegas, you know, to use their services. I mean, you can go to Squad site. You can order stuff online. What does she do? Doesn't she do her virtual,
virtual classes? Yeah. Teaching you all about your skincare, teaching you all about the business, everything.
Yeah. Yep. So check them out. And if you want to be a sponsor of our event coming up or a sponsor of our show, let me tell you, look at all this advertising we're doing for you. And aside from that, you'll get advertised on our show platform. You will be able to be advertised on our website. Yeah, that's how great we are, because we have a website, and thank you to our sponsor. He's able to really help us out, give us direction. Our show has grown so much. I don't even know what to say, but except for thank you to all of our listeners. And there we are. There's our show site. So you can subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. That's not me, by the way. I'm better looking. That's not me, by the way. That's somebody else. So, and here we are, the ladies of Entrepreneur Life Show. You could be just right there, just like Marketing Out the Box. And of course, all of our past shows. So you can watch them. We've had some really, really great guests. And of course, you can load all the videos, as well as you can contact us directly here. You can subscribe to any of our show platforms, and look at all the platforms we are on. That's a lot of platforms, people. So that's a lot of advertising for you. Right. And our calendar, our upcoming calendars and what's going on. So anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in on Thursday. We appreciate all of our listeners and followers and more people. We want to subscribe. You're the best.
Thank you.
We're about to end the
best. Thank you.
Yeah, we're about to end the show. Until next time.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for following us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting our journeys and entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Bye. See you next time. Bye.